Hello YouTube, hope you're all keeping well out there. Right, this is a bit of a follow-on video to the previous vid that I did regarding some Blu-ray movies in my collection. That was a VR video response, but I'm going to start going through the whole collection, and I thought we'd split it down into genres, and seeing as I started with the horror genre before, I'm going to continue that. And these are all the Blu-rays that fall into that section. And some within here are kind of, I mean, you know, as an example, I pulled this one out, Nightmare Before Christmas, but I'll probably do that in my animation section. And you probably will see some of these in other genres because some do sort of merge the lines. Arguably, I'm going to start with this one though, Ghostbusters. And again, this could easily just fall into, you know, nostalgic or comedy. But yeah, Ghostbusters 1 and 2, classic. I prefer 1, but I still don't mind 2. There's not too much to say about that one, so I won't waffle on. And these here are the Blu-rays that I chose of 10 interesting Blu-ray horror movies in my collection. For those that don't bother going back to the old video. Again, this one is a bit more of a light-hearted horror. Poltergeist. What's it called? Tobe Hooper? Yeah, that's it. Tobe Hooper, who previously did, well, I'm assuming other films as well, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So it's quite a much more of a friendly version in this, but there are still some real nasty scenes, like the dream sequence with one of the the paranormal investigators starts peeling his face off in the bathroom, which is quite scary. But yeah, I've just got great memories. It's a very kind of nostalgic film. This, just, you know, all of us as a family back in the day had around the TV at numerous points through the year, and time again, you know, we all enjoyed it. And obviously it was introduced to this film by mum and dad. So yeah, just a good nostalgic movie. Right, the next one is by director John Carpenter. Another film that I like alongside The Thing, although The Thing's still my favourite by Carpenter, and it's The Fog. Again, based on a book, isn't it, Herbert? James Herbert. Book from the 70s, really good. Invasion of the Body Snatchers with Donald Sutherland. I know there's been, what, 3, maybe even 4 revisions of this film. The 50s black and white, then this one in the 70s. And yeah, I really like this one. It's got a very young Jeff Goldblum in there. Oh, just realised it's an Arrow Blu-ray. And yeah, I like this one. I like the 70s genre films. They, as I alluded to in my previous video, the 70s, they took their horrors quite seriously. You know, things started to get a bit more silly and arguably teeny a bit later on in the 70s and certainly into the 80s. But yeah, very good film. Stone Cold classic, Jaws, arguably falls into the horror genre. More of like a modern natural monster movie. And one of my favourites from Spielberg. Just one of my top 20s, I'd say, as well. A classic I've seen a million times and could watch a million times more. There's just so much to enjoy about it. I love the camaraderie and the dynamics between the 3 men at the end there. And I always saw it as a film of 2 halves, one leading up to the discovery of the shark and chasing it down, and then the last half, which is quite a large section of them on the boat hunting Jaws down. But I remember watching this probably when I was definitely when I was not 12 anyway, in single digits, and distinctly remember even to this day the nightmare it gave me that particular night, and calling my mum up. And I was thinking I was about like 5 years old or something watching it. Bless them. Parenting skills. Arguably one that falls into the horror genre, does it? It's, you know, comedy, dark comedy, but I'd say it's got horror monstery elements to it. Gremlins, another classic. Zemeckis, isn't it? But definitely has that Spielberg-y vibe, and I know he produced this one. Again, not too much more to say about that one. I always try to watch that one every Christmas. One of my top Christmas movies. Shutter Island. Maybe more of like a horror, psychological horror, certainly. Thriller, mystery, real nice twist in it, so arguably you might be able to work it out and see it coming. Scorsese, beautifully directed, very well acted, and a great psychological, horror thriller mystery. Interview with a Vampire. I actually don't mind this. It's very 90s by today's standards, but I remember going to the cinema with my then girlfriend to watch it and quite enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed Tom Cruise's performance in it. I thought it was a real different role for him, and sort of opened my eyes to him as a more serious kind of actor. Right, next we got a B-movie classic, certainly one of my top B movies of all time, Tremors. I used to always love watching this on TV. Well played, great scenery with the Nevada or Arizona desert as the backdrop, and the special effects weren't bad really. The monsters were absolutely disgusting, these huge slug things with giant teeth, and just good times for that one. Need to watch that one again soon. Woman in Black, I actually didn't mind this. It was only £1 down a charity shop, and I enjoyed watching it a second time through as well. Daniel Radcliffe is quite watchable in it, and it's well filmed. It's quite gothic-y in its themes, but it's not a super dark horror film. It's obviously with the 12 certificate there, but a bit more mild, a bit more family friendly, but still got some chilling moments. Right, this is one that definitely, should I include this? Yeah, you'll probably see it in the Western section as well, but Bone Tomahawk. And this is a film where they split genres really, really well. It says Western, but there's a twist in it near the end. And I'll just say that, I don't want to give it away. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. It's got some, it's brilliantly acted. It's got some real good players in there, beautifully shot, and the twist is very, very good. Right, am I going to fit all these in on the table? I'm going to have a damn good go. I didn't mind the original. Obviously, Tim Curry is absolutely fantastic as Pennywise, and I didn't mind. God, what's he called? I forgot his blooming name. One of the Stedstar brothers. There's about 7 in the family, isn't there? They're all actors. But I actually thought this was really good. But I was really disappointed with It Part 2, the new one. Yeah, a bit disappointed. But this was really creepy. And kudos to him for taking on Pennywise. Not easy to follow in the shoes of the great Tim Curry. But I just find that the first film, I know it was kind of a TV movie. I've seen a documentary out there, and I'd recommend you check that out about the making and creation of. It's like a TV movie, 2-part, wasn't it? Or was it a series? I can't remember. Then they're made into a movie. But yeah, it's got John Boy, the Walton lad in there, or bloke, and a few others. It was okay. It was okay. But this, I actually preferred this to the original sans the part of Pennywise by Tim Curry. Arguably, this is a horror film, more of like maybe a slasher, psychological horror. And this, I remember watching this a few times actually when I was a lad, staying up a bit late with my dad and watching this. And I don't know, at the time when I first watched it, I remember it being really sinister and dark, and just that late 60s London like filmmaking style was really, really creepy. But this is a very strong film. I really like it. It's a classic for me. It's got some great performances, and it's really well shot, and it's just eerie and just off. Do check this one out. The Lost Boys, again, this could have gone in to 80s nostalgic films, or it's a little bit of dark humour in there, but I'd say it's a horror classic. Not much more to say about that, and was really pleased to when we went on our honeymoon, me and the wife, I took a beeline and made our way to where Grandpa had his house in this. So yeah, we viewed that firsthand. Psycho, one of Hitchcock's top films, master of suspense, and this is arguably just touching on horror, but psychological horror, thriller. Yeah, an absolute classic. Do not know why they did the remake with Vince Vaughn. Complete waste of time, if you ask me. Yeah, another film that's arguably not a true horror, but it's certainly got horror elements to it, with a monster as a monster movie. Certainly a sci-fi, so this will probably rear its ugly head again in that genre collection. But I love the Terminator. Arguably, I think I'd prefer it to the second one. I just like how gritty it is. I love the fact that Cameron clearly had budget constraints, and I think with that, some true creativity comes out of it. Yeah, some of the effects look a little bit dated now and again. But on the whole, I think this has aged really, really well and quite a powerful film. Set Schwarzenegger on the path to his career anyway, for sure. Donnie Darko, horror, psychological, weird. I need to see this again. I've seen it twice, but the last time wasn't for donkey's years. I mean, I picked this one up in a charity shop and it was still sealed, so yeah, I need to give that one another go. Really like Jake Gyllenhaal as well. He's a great actor, very diverse. Right, modern horror film now, and there's not many moderns I really like, but this was really good, about possession, haunted house, devil, demons, and that's right up my street. Based, quote unquote, on true events. Take that with a pinch of salt. Yeah, about a possession in a house in the 70s, and yeah, really good. Well acted as well, and I like the guy in this. What's he called? Patrick Wilson. I think he's a really good underrated actor. Whatever he's in, he always brings, you know, his 100% to his role. And this is a spin-off of the film that me and the wife really enjoyed. Critically, it didn't get amazing reviews, but I really enjoyed it. And along with my werewolves, there's something I've always liked about movies with dolls in. So, you know, your Child's Play. And there was an old 80s film I saw, Scott Sager Zombie had it. Dolls from the 80s. Yeah, God, I managed to find a copy of that and watched it again, and it hasn't aged well, but I loved watching that the first time. But this is really creepy, really well done. Some genuine scares, and really well acted, and yeah, well shot. I really liked it. A Will Smith film next. I Am Legend. I actually didn't mind this. I know the ending was a bit lame, and some of the CG is a bit dodgy in places. I didn't really mind it like that, but they did look overly Uncanny Valley CG, didn't they, the enemies in this? But I thought it was really good, and the reason I enjoyed this, probably more so, was I read the book first by Richard Matheson. Do check that out if you like your horror books. Really, really good. This does stray from the book, definitely here and there, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Classic British film, The Wicker Man. Again, another 70s movie. It's just really weird pagan rituals going on in this, on a Scottish island, I believe. And yeah, it's just unsettling, unnerving, rather than a true horror. But it's just eerie. It gives you the willies. I actually didn't mind this one. A fairly modernish movie, certainly the noughties. The Wolfman. Now, I'm a huge Benicio del Toro fan, but I just felt he might have been a bit miscast in this. He didn't really show off any acting chops. But what he did okay. I know he was really keen to play this. And Anthony Hopkins and Hugo Weaving's really good in this. And Rick Baker, the guy who did The American Werewolf in London. You in here? Yeah, there. Did the practical effects for this, but I know there was a lot of debate, and I was really looking forward to what he would do in this. There was a lot of controversy around behind the scenes about how they were going to tackle the transformation scenes, and they ended up doing a lot of digital CGI work. Arguably, I think they're really good transformation scenes. Certainly the one where Benicio del Toro's character, was he Jack Torrance, is it? Or not Jack Torrance? Telford or something like that, is in the chair, in the medical chair. It's a really good scene, and the scene after that as he escapes is really cool. I'll say no more than that. But yeah, brilliant. I really liked it. And the wife enjoyed it as well. A very 90s horror movie here. More style over substance, arguably, but I've always really enjoyed it. I thought it's quite artsy-fartsy and arguably dated by today's standards, but I think Ford Coppola was, and I think he's got a record saying this, he was really experimenting, trying new stuff out. He was really influenced by things Oliver Stone was doing as well with Natural Born Killers, and it was a kind of time of experimentation in the 90s with the rise of Tarantino and things. Just become really interested in movie making. And Gary Oldman, brilliant in this. Certainly hams up in places, but he is so good. Much better than Keanu in this film, anyway. They say that. Some interesting editing. Again, some of it dated, some of it works. It gives it like a nice sort of theatrical quality. And speaking of theatrical, Pan's Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro. Classic movie, really well made, fantastic special effect work in this, and I was blown away with some of the bits. And a real creepy monster, this thing, the blind one that has his eyes in his hands. Really creative ideas in this, real dark tones, brings in a bit of a world setting with the war going on in I think it's in South America, or is it in Spain? I can't remember. But I've seen this a good few times and really enjoyed it, but I haven't seen it for a while. Let's do this one, another Del Toro movie, Guillermo del Toro movie, The Orphanage. He actually produced this, and it's definitely got his kind of signature trademark style and aesthetic in this. Really good. Family move into an old orphanage, and they want to rekindle it and turn it into a home for disadvantaged children. You know, what a fantastic idea that is. Nothing's going to go wrong, is it? And of course they unlock his son, or her son, and the father's son starts to see apparitions and talks about new friends that he's got, and it's just got an eerie quality. And I remember really enjoying this one as well. That one's another film I've got to see. Right, we've got some different ones coming up. I'm going to get this one out of the way, just this real low budget horror film none of you have probably heard of, but it's called The Exorcist. Nah, it's a staple, isn't it? Now, this one contains both the extended and theatrical versions. I really like the extended version. As I said in this film, this video here relating to The Omen, there was a lot of weird, strange deaths and bad shit happening within the production and surrounding the production of the movie. And it was almost tenfold in this one, so, you know, never fuck around with the devil. What can I say? It's a classic, isn't it? It's a classic. It's dated in some scenes, and it is quite funny when you hear about audiences vomiting and running out screaming from the cinema. But, you know, cinema was kind of in its, you know, it's 50 years ago, and a lot of moviegoers never saw anything like this before. So, yeah, I would have loved to have been around and watched that for the first time. Another genre-busting horror movie, sci-fi, and it's The Fly. I had to get this. I had the DVD version of this with this lovely steelbook case, and I love, yeah, what a film this is by Cronenberg. Very short film, very gross out, sci-fi, quite, you know, a sad film as well in many respects. But yeah, classic. Great creature design. I think Rob Bottin did that. The guy that worked on RoboCop, I think it was Bottin, and The Thing. Tell me if I'm wrong. Right, I've got two foreign films that are a bit more obscure horrors, and arguably one falls more into like a slasher thriller, and it's this one, I Saw the Devil. Basically, it's this guy, I can't remember his name, but he played Old Boy. He was the title character in Old Boy. The poor sap that was locked in the room. But he plays a taxi driver in this, and he goes to pick up a passenger, a girl, and yeah, he doesn't pick her up to drop her anywhere. He's a very, very naughty man, and dispatches of her, let's say. But she is the daughter of this guy, who's a cop, like an agent, and they play like a weird cat and I've got to see this again. This one I'm going to keep to one side along with The Right One In, and this next film coming up to watch again with my wife. I really enjoyed it. It's a bit silly in places where it's like, you know, this guy could have killed him, but he deliberately sort of drags things out once he finds him. He plays like a weird cat and mouse game with him, and yeah, it's just really good, really interesting. And this is another film by a Korean director, the guy that produced or directed Oldboy, Park Chan-wook, and Mr. Vengeance and Lady Vengeance. Thirst, a real good take on the vampire movie. Basically, this chap here is a priest, you know, and he does this solid of transfusing blood to help someone with an illness or a disease. I can't quite remember. I've seen this once along with this one. I thought they were brilliant. But he actually gets transfused the blood of a vampire. Or I think that's how it works. What a bummer, eh? Try and do a fellow man a solid and get turned into a vampire. But it's just like it covers his kind of struggles with what he should and shouldn't do with his newfound skills, and obviously the lust for blood. Again, I can't really waffle on too much about it, but I'm really looking forward to watching it again. You know, he does almost get like the superhuman powers of leaping from building to building and intense strength and things like that. Check this one out. See what you think to it, and let me know what you guys thought of the movie in the comments below. But that's the last one. Right, let's just chuck this one in, seeing I mentioned it earlier. Nightmare Before Christmas. This one I'm going to keep to one side because me and the wife want the daughter to check this one out, see what she thinks to it. Tim Burton's back in the day when he was actually making good films. And yeah, great animation style in this. I love that stop motion animation, claymation. Just much more artistic than CG. I'm just sick of CG. Animation. It was great at the start when it was new and exciting, but now I think I'd love to see much more animation studios going back to this sort of style, and even hand drawn, dare I say. But anyway, there you go. I'll probably do another genre video, maybe thrillers I was thinking, or I might go for animation next, but that'll be a little while off. I have got another video to do with video games coming up very soon regarding pickups for the months of November and December. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope I didn't go on too long. Everyone take care out there, stay safe, and I'll see you again. Bye.